What's going on, guys? It's Busy D4K. Now, today I just wanted to get into detail with you guys. If you're a new player and you're looking to play JJK Phantom Parade, I really want to just show you guys, some guides. And if you are an existing player, hopefully I can help you out with some things, um, that you might feel like you don't know or you might need help with. So the main thing I want to talk about is this. So for me, I didn't play much gacha games before. I just really like the IP, being Jujutsu Kaisen. I love Jujutsu Kaisen, the anime. It's one of my favorites. And once I heard they had a game, I hopped onto it straight away. And then, I had to pretty much learn a lot of stuff when it comes to gachas. And, I'm sure a lot of other people feel the same way. So I just kind of wanted to get into detail about it, and help anyone that's struggling with a few things. And the main thing I want to really say to everyone is something that people need to realize is that this game actually came out in Japan before it released globally. So now I'm on the global edition. Um, but yeah, that's something that a lot of people don't know, or um, yeah, for me, I didn't know this game came out before. So I was always wondering how other YouTubers were, I guess, saying what characters coming out next. It's because they were already out on the JP version or the Japan version. So yeah, right now in the current state of the game, global is almost catching up with um JP. So yeah, now that you guys know that there is a JP version, we can start getting into the basis of the game. So the gacha system. So how it works is every now and then you get a featured character. All right, so or limited character, for example. So for example, we have the Phantom Parade gacha. So this pool here, these are very, very basic characters. Most of the characters aren't best um in this pool. So what I really want to stress to you guys is using your cubes wisely. Now this game and its resources is not good at you know, just giving you resources. So when you do get cubes, for me, I'm pay to win. I wouldn't consider myself a whale. Like I don't spend all my money on the game, but I do spend money on the game. So that's something to keep into account. If you are free to play, which most people will be, really, really save your cubes for a character you want. One thing that's important to note about this game is that this game isn't about, having the best character. Just know that if you like a character, spin for the character. If you like, for example, a lot of people don't like Miguel. He isn't, the strongest. He's not the best. But if you really like Miguel in the movie, or you've read the manga and you like his character, spin, use your cubes on him. That's the most important thing to realize that you should really spend your cubes on what you like. There are tier lists and there is a wiki that I'll put in the description. There is a wiki where it tells you like a tier list based on the Japanese players and what they think is the strongest characters and stuff like that. But honestly, it really all comes down to what you like. So if you like Miguel, spin for Miguel. If you like Utah, spin for Utah. If you want domain expansion, spin for domain expansion. Now, there are characters that I really would recommend spinning for. For example, domain expansion Gojo. He is probably not probably he is the best unit in the game right now. I'm sure if you've watched other YouTubers, they've all said the same thing, and it is true. He's got the best kit. Um, I'll show you some of my characters here. I've got Gojo. Um, pretty much all the Gojos, but this is domain expansion Gojo, and he's by far the strongest character I have. So that's something to really you know, think about. Yes, spin for who you like, but also, I definitely feel like there are some characters that you need in the game to continue. Like Domain Expansion Gojo is pretty important if you want to beat a lot of the bosses in the game, which I will get into later as well. So yeah, just keep that in mind. This is how the gacha system works. Really, really, really just be careful with your resources if you're free to play. If you're not, spend your money how you want. But yeah, if you're, for example, if you're split between Utah and domain expansion Gojo, you're gonna really have to decide to use one. Now, another thing I want to quickly get into as well when it comes to the gacha. So there is the exchange shop. How this works is, like I said, I've never played a gacha game before. This is my first time, so I did not know how this works. But pretty much, if you get into spinning for a character, you will come to realize that a lot of the characters are hard to pull in this game. To be honest, they are hard. The chances of pulling them are quite difficult. But we have now. This just came recently, which is why I've been saying to a lot of people that now is the best time to start playing the game because the game's kind of in a good state right now. But anyways, you guys really want to pay attention here because when you're spinning on a gacha, um, if you're spinning on a banner, so these are called banners. What happens is you get exclusive gacha points, right? And what these points do, they build up to pity. Now, pity, pretty much all it is you, let's say, so it takes 250 multis for you to be able to, you know, get pity on a character. So if you didn't pull a character in 250 pity multis, you can use your points to get the character for free. Well, not really for free, but you can use it's like it's in the word pity. It's pitying you, you get the character. It's really what you don't want to do, but sometimes, for instance, I had to pity this Gojo. Took me so many spins, but yeah, so that's something to think about. Also, now we have recharge cards. So it's these things, gacha point cards, and it stacks up to 100. So let's say I had let's see, let's say I had I spent 200 um I did 200 multis, so 200 draw 10 times and I still didn't pull Utah. If I've done this before in a previous one, I could apply what you do is you press recharge, and then I would apply my gacha points to this banner, which means it would allow me to pity Utah. So that's pretty much how that works. So just keep that in mind. That's something that a lot of people mentioned that they didn't understand how it works. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Now, something that I realized a lot of YouTubers don't talk about, which kind of led me to this video, because I really want to help people. Because when I first started out, I really didn't understand the game at all, or understand how it works. So I really, really, really want you guys to understand this. Is that this game is very, very so obviously you need characters, right? But pulling a character in itself sometimes isn't enough. And what I mean by that is this game is very, very heavily reliant on duplicate characters. So sometimes you need the same character. So for example, My Blue Gojo, this one you get for free. Pretty much he's the easiest Gojo to get. He's very strong, not like he's just because he's easy to get doesn't mean he's weak. He's very strong. But I have him at 5 dupes. Now what this means is, for example, if you have no dupes, he's at the very, very base. You dupe him once, which means you get 2 Gojos. You get the base blue Gojo, and then you get another one. What happens is one dupe, you get a plus 25% increase to your HP, to your physical technique, to your curse technique. So that's a big boost. Then you dupe to this Gojo, he gets a 35, which is a massive boost. And then 3, 4, 5. So a lot of the time, especially for most characters, a one dupe is good enough. But most of the time, if you can two, uh, 2 to 3 dupe a character, you're pretty much fine. And then if you can get to that 5 dupe, obviously that's ideal. But that comes into being pay to win sometimes, or just being really lucky. So that's something to really think about. For example, my Toji, he's only great dupe 1, but that dupe 1 is plus 25% to his physical technique, curse technique, and HP. That's a big boost for Toji. If I could dupe to him, it would be a massive plus to him. To be honest, I wouldn't need to dupe 3, dupe 4, dupe 5. It would be good if I did, but I wouldn't need to. But there are some characters in some instances where you should not try to dupe to them. You shouldn't aim to dupe to them. For example, my domain expansion, Megami, get back to him. He is grade 3 awakening, which is good. Grade 3 awakening, you get to 30%. But I duped him once, that's the 25% increase. Some characters only get it in a first energy um, increase on their second dupe, which obviously isn't that worth it. So, I mean, it's 10 plus cursed energy, but um, yeah, it's not that worth it. If you 3 dupe him, it's fine. Like I said, duping them to the max is ideal, but it's not worth it to do. So I've just pulled this domain Megami just multiple times, but this is something to really think about. For example, I'm actually thinking about duping. Well, I was thinking about duping my Mahito, but look what happens. He only gets a first energy increase by 10 on his dupe 2. It's not worth it. I don't gain anything. I mean, I can get lucky and dupe 3 him if I get a one of these, the universal shards, but it's not worth it to dupe him more than once. So, you leave him, I would leave him as that. But yeah, even Yuji, for example, right? If I grade to him, he gets just the cursed energy. So there's some characters that are worth heavily duping. There's some characters that aren't. All the time though, a one dupe is very, very much wanted on a character. I would say one duping is the best thing you can do. For example, my Gojo, he's not one duped. I could barely pull him once, so I couldn't even dupe him twice. But I one duped him. I mean, not even duped him. I just have him as one. So, you know, if I can get a one dupe, that's a 25% increase on those 3 stats, which is massive. So that's something to really look into. Just being very, very um, you know, once you realize that you have to do most of your characters, like for example, this is a great character, Geto, but he is not strong for me because he's not one dude. He is a debuffer, um, so you don't really need to dupe your debuffers, but if I could, it's always better. So yeah, that's something to really just think about. Duping your characters is a very big deal. One thing I really want you guys to not do, because this is what I did when I first started playing, which is a massive mistake, was that there's actually a thing where you can, so let's say you open heaps of gotchas, you can actually what do you call it? You could sell your characters that you've gotten, like dupes of characters you've gotten. And what that does is if you go to the exchange shop, right? You go to the exchange shop, you can buy a dupe for a character. Now, I got rid of a lot of characters. But sometimes you need the dupes of the character the more you get into the game. So I really recommend don't not wasting your soul shards if you haven't fully duped a character. Really try to dupe out your characters as much as you can, even if they're not the best character. Um, you know, you want to be duping them out because there are some flaws in the illusory tower, which I'll get into later, that you need a character dupe 3 or dupe 2. So just to make your life easier. Now I'm going to get into um, standard pool. So one thing I do recommend not doing is don't waste any of your cubes on this pool. You get a lot of free tickets a lot of the time from just playing the game for this pool. So really, really try not to spend your money on this. And then, like I said, if you get to 200 spins on this, you get a SSR guaranteed. SSR being the highest, um, you know, like rank for a character. But yeah, you can get a recollection in this. To be honest, every time I've used this, I get a recollection. So it's not the best, but yeah, just something to keep in mind. Just don't spend your money on standard pool. The last thing I really want to talk about today um, is the importance of AP. So you really want to make the best of your AP. Um, really, really make sure you use your AP because obviously once you get to, I think when you first start out, it's like on 100. Once you get to 100. For me, it's 200. Once it gets to 200, it's pretty much your energy. It actually stops building up. So you want to use your energy as much as you can, log in as much as you can throughout the day if you really want to, stack up your stuff, and get the most materials you can. Um, really, really try to make the most of it. Logging in once a day at night probably isn't the best way to do it because, you're kind of killing your material gains in a day. Um, and another thing I really want to make you guys know about is what was it? Your recollection bits. Yeah, make sure you dupe them out. A lot of recollection bits are useless, but there are some that are very, very helpful. That I noticed that you kind of need to pass some floors on a illusory tower. Like for example, this one's needed in a lot of guides. Um, this one's needed in a lot of guides, and sometimes you need the secondary one. Now, when it comes to duping recollections, you actually get SSR recollections anyway. A lot of SSR recollections have a secondary passive that only get activated once you dupe them. Um, so yeah, so for example, if this was dupe one, I would only have this one. Um, once I dupe it once, then I get the secondary passive, and then once I dupe it 3 times, the first one gets upgraded. So, for example, perfect one, I got one here, right? Here. So this one's locked. You can see how it's locked. If I limit break this, this will be unlocked. Let's see. Yeah, here. So if I dupe it, I get this secondary skill, and then once you dupe 3 it, your skill goes from being a 10% ultimate gauge skill increase to a 15%. So there's little buffs like that. That's something to really think about. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much the main things. There's a lot of other stuff, little stuff, but I really just wanted to cover the main things about this game. Um, so yeah, so I'm gonna, put this to my YouTube channel, and I want you guys, if you guys have any questions, just comment it, and I'll either comment back or I might even make a whole video, depending on what it is. But yeah, peace out, guys.